Chapter 6, Launching a Project. In this chapter, isolating the problem with a problem statement, identifying your entitled level of improvement, setting project goals with an objective statement, and starting your DMAIC project. The scope and goal of your DMAIC project is summarized in two short statements: a problem statement and an objective statement. They represent the North Star for your project. This chapter helps you devise and link both of these statements so you can start your project off on precisely the right foot. We also help you decide how much improvement you should aim for and give you more tips on how to get your Six Sigma project off the ground and running. Describing the problem with a problem statement. The problem statement serves several purposes. First, it significantly clarifies the current situation by specifically identifying the problem and its severity, location, and financial impact. It also serves as a great communication tool, helping to get buy-in and support from others. When problem statements are well written, people readily grasp and understand what you're trying to accomplish. Tip: write the problem statement with an audience in mind. Keep in mind that you probably have to both convince management to provide your resources to solve the problem and enlist team members to assist you. You don't want to spend your precious time explaining over and over what you're trying to accomplish. A problem statement should be concise and include the following: a brief description of the problem and the metric used to describe the problem, where the problem is occurring by process, name, and location, the time frame over which the problem has been occurring, and the size or magnitude of the problem. You must be careful to avoid underwriting a problem statement. A natural tendency is to write a problem statement too simplistically because you're already familiar with the problem. If you're going to recruit support and resources to solve your problem, others have to understand the context and the significance in order to support you. Following are examples highlighting the depth and quantification of a Six Sigma project definition. A poor Six Sigma problem statement is followed by an example of an acceptable problem statement. First up, a statement with too little information. Poor problem statement 1A. Inventory levels are too high and must be reduced. How many times have you heard a problem statement like this one before? Yes, having high inventory levels is a problem, but a problem statement containing so little information significantly reduces your ability to take specific action, enlist support, and obtain improvement. The problem statement must not include any indication or speculation about the cause of the problem or what actions will be taken to solve the problem. Never attempt to solve the problem or steer the solution at this stage. For example, the following problem statement is more detailed than poor problem statement 1A, but it's still well problematic. Poor problem statement 1B. Having too few forklifts is making inventory levels too high. By saying having too few forklifts in poor problem statement 1B, you're purporting that you know what the solution is. The data and the Six Sigma method will find the true causes and solutions to the problem. Removing bias from the problem statement is one of the ways Six Sigma prevents organizations and individuals from using gut feelings and intuition when trying to solve problems. Problem statements such as the following are effective at enlisting people's attention, energy, and support. Better problem statement 1. Inventory levels at the West Metro inventory storage process in Scottsdale are consuming space, taking up asset management time, and creating cash flow issues. Inventory levels are averaging 31.2 days with a high of 45 days. These levels have exceeded the target of 25 days 90% of the time since January 2012. We could save $250,000 per year if inventories were at the targeted level. Look at the amount of information that is available in this example. You know where the problem is occurring, you know how long it has occurred, you know the magnitude of the problem, and you know how much it's costing. Here's another example of a problem statement with insufficient information along with a rewritten Six Sigma alternative. Poor problem statement 2. Human resources is taking too long to fill personnel requests. Better problem statement 2. Recruiting time for software engineers for the Flight Systems Design Department in San Jose is missing the goal of 70 days 91% of the time. The average time to fill a request is 155 days in the HR employee recruitment process over the past 15 months. This delay is adding costs of $145,000 per month in overtime, contractor labor, and rework costs. And one more, poor problem statement 3. Our hospital has a problem with the number of insurance claims forms submitted with errors to the insurance company. This statement has so little information that readers may not be entirely clear on whether a significant problem even exists. Of course, nobody thinks that having claim forms with errors is good. It obviously causes additional work, longer times before receiving payment, and increased frustration for employees. But is this problem worthy of being worked on as stated? Maybe, maybe not. Other problems may be giving you worse headaches than this one. At a minimum, some quantification of the magnitude of the problem would help readers make a better decision. Is the whole hospital having a problem, or is it confined to a particular group? Writing the problem statement to the standards of Six Sigma provides the level of information needed to make an informed decision. Better problem statement 3. Insurance claim forms originating at the Fremont North Memorial Emergency Department are causing a loss of revenue, excessive rework costs, and delayed payment to the hospital. 45% of the claim forms have errors, with an average of 2.3 defects per form. This problem has existed since claims processing was moved to Kansas City in March 2012. Billings could increase by $3.5 million per month, rework cost could be reduced by 50%, and an additional 1.5% of revenue could be recovered if errors were occurring less than 5% of the time. Achieving this level of performance would increase profits by $395,000 per year. Deciding how much improvement is enough. Perhaps you've now convinced yourself that you have a viable project, a problem worthy of being worked, and that you can convince others to help. You know specifically what must be improved to make life better for everyone. Now, the questions are, how much improvement do we need, and how much improvement can we make? You need to answer these questions before you can create your objective statement. See the following section. You want to target the amount of improvement for the project by looking simultaneously at how much improvement you need to satisfy business requirements and how much improvement you can make given the opportunity and the power of Six Sigma. Sound confusing? Don't worry, some simple guidelines can assist you here. Setting the objective for the project's level of improvement is a prioritizing activity with several key inputs. Defining your own opinion of what success is, considering entitlement, which we discussed in the section asking how much am I entitled to, benchmarking, finding the hidden operation, striving for breakthrough levels of improvement, and listening to the needs of your customer. Some people like to go right to the cash. They establish some threshold of savings and try to configure the amount of improvement required to achieve those savings. Although this approach is okay in some cases, the best strategy is to strive for an aggressive but rational level of improvement and to let the dollars flow later. The following sections show you how to do just that. Asking, how much am I entitled to? Entitlement is an extremely powerful, eye-opening Six Sigma concept used to determine the potential level of improvement. When understood, it can change the way you think about everything. Entitlement is the best performance that a process, as currently designed, has demonstrated in actual operation. Suppose you have a business process that has a 90% average yield over a long-term period. In other words, 90% of the time it delivers to requirements. Now imagine that you observe the same process delivering at a 98% level for a few weeks or some other short period. You may consider the uptick to be incidental or just plain lucky, an alignment of the stars. In Six Sigma speak, however, you would say that the conditions or inputs to this process, the X's, all combined in such a way that they delivered the observed improved performance, the Y. If you need help with the equation y equals f of x plus e, flip to chapter 3. Therefore, you can determine the right alignment, settings or values, for the inputs that have led to this improved performance. You're entitled to operate at this performance level all the time. This alignment is the entitlement level of performance for the process. As the Six Sigma saying goes, you can't unscramble scrambled eggs, but you can unscramble entitlement. When determining the amount of improvement, always take entitlement into consideration. Acknowledging that other hidden opportunities exist. The hidden factory, see Chapter 2, is another Six Sigma concept that can change the way you think about the work in your company. The hidden factory, or hidden operation, is work that is done above and beyond what is required to produce a product or a service, such as rework or repair. The hidden factory is also the work that creeps into the organization when you forget to ask yourself, why are we doing this activity because it isn't adding any value? So where do hidden factory effects come from? You may have experienced something like the following. Over a year ago, we did this quick fix on a problem, followed by an additional inspection to make sure the problem was contained. That quick fix may well have become part of normal procedures. If you've ever heard the saying, that's the way we've always done it, you probably have a hidden operation opportunity to find. Figure 6-1 shows a view of the hidden factory. Figure 6-1. At some point in almost every process, you find a sequence of steps that are very similar to these steps. Work is done on the product or service during one of the process steps called Op-I, which is a form of shorthand for naming this process step. You also see the next work step in the process is operation I+1, which in shorthand means the next work step in the process. Okay. Between these two work steps in the process is an inspection or verification step. When there is a verification step in a process, you have a high potential for a hidden factory to exist. Refer to the area below the dashed line in figure 6-1. It's the extra analysis, repair, scrap, and so on that occur when a product or service has been deemed to not meet requirements. Here's all right, let's try to actually get an in focus that you can photograph and listen to what I just said, if you want. All these steps add cost because the product or service wasn't correct the first time. Most organizations just accept these types of additional steps as that's the way we do things here. That's the way we've always done it. When this rationalization occurs, you have mentally hidden this operation. For a tip, finding the hidden factory and quantifying its effect helps you further understand your potential level of improvement when writing your objectives statement. Going for breakthrough improvement. Another important approach is to estimate a breakthrough level of improvement that may be possible by carrying out your project. This estimation helps you avoid setting your sights too low, which can often happen when you don't have a lot of experience with the problem-solving power of Six Sigma. Your current thinking is probably influenced by your sense of how much improvement you can achieve by using traditional methods, the methods with which you are already familiar. So what constitutes a breakthrough improvement? Always consider a 70% improvement over baseline performance as a starting point for the target improvement in your objective statement. For example, if you have a process step with a 10% problem, for a particular characteristic, a Six Sigma project should be able to lower the defect rate to less than a 3% problem. Remember that this rate of improvement is an average that doesn't necessarily hold true for all projects. Most actual projects will be somewhat higher or lower. Figure 6-2 shows the difference between breakthrough improvement and the more traditional incremental rates of improvement that you're probably used to. Gotta level it out. So. Setting an improvement target with your objective statement. After you know what your problem statement is and how much improvement you're aiming for, head to the 2 preceding sections if you're not quite there yet. You're ready to craft your objective statement. Your objective statement spells out the specific quantifiable amount of improvement planned above the baseline performance that was indicated in the problem statement. You also need to determine how long completing this project and achieving your goal will take. The objective statement directly addresses the information in the problem statement. Just like the problem statement, the objective statement must contain certain information in order to be effective. A good objective statement contains all the following elements: metric, baseline, goal, amount of time, impact, and corporate goal/objective. That is, you want to improve some metric from some baseline to some goal in some amount of time with some impact against some corporate goal or objective. This timeline should be aggressive but realistic. To begin crafting your objective statement, start with the baseline performance you established in the problem statement. After you've set your improvement goal, you can estimate the financial benefit of achieving this goal. This estimate should be aggressive but reasonable, and you shouldn't worry about being accurate to the nearest penny. You can estimate the financial benefit by assessing what will be different at the new operating level versus what it is today. Your task, with the assistance of the financial organization, is to identify the differences and to estimate the annual benefit. Linking Six Sigma projects to the key goals and objectives of the organization is always a good idea. Aside from the common sense benefits, this strategy is a good way to roll up all projects and the accumulated benefits related to the company's goals and objectives. In some businesses, Six Sigma has created for the first time the ability to quantitatively link improvement effort to strategy. The following are several Six Sigma style objective statements that you can adapt for your projects, along with some painful examples of how not to craft your objective statement. You can find the related problem statements in the earlier section describing your problem with a problem statement. Poor objective statement 1A. Reduce inventory levels as soon as possible. Can you succeed at this goal? Can you get excited about working on this project? Well, those answers may depend more on the mood of your boss than anything else. Consider your attitude and the enthusiasm of your boss if the statement looks something like this. Better objective statement 1A. Reduce raw material inventory levels from 31.2 days average to 23 days average with a maximum of 27 days by August 1st, 2012. This project will save $235,000 per year for interest, space, and personnel in support of our corporate goal to improve asset management and rate return on investment. Now management and team members know where the goal line is, how long they have to get there, and how much benefit their efforts will create, and they have the reassurance that their efforts will be for a good cause. With this more specific objective, everyone involved is more likely to be chomping at the bit to get started. If you were a manager needing software engineers to complete a design, would you sign up for an aggressive schedule and put your career on the line based on the following objective statement? Poor objective statement 2. Improve how long human resources takes to fill personnel requests. Unless you have nothing better to do, you probably should look the other way when volunteers are being recruited to take on this project. But your adrenaline may get flowing if the objective was worded like this. Better objective statement 2. Reduce the software engineer recruiting time from an average of 155 days to 51 days, with an upper limit of 65 days. This change will meet the current maximum goal of 70 days greater than 99% of the time. The new goal will be achieved by June 1st, 2012. It will support our employer of choice goal and achieve an annualized savings of $145,000 per month. Finally, one more example. Poor objective statement 3. Retrain employees to eliminate inaccurate claims forms. In addition to being another poor objective statement, this example has an additional no-no, the inclusion of the solution retrain employees. If you already know the solution, why bother with the project in the first place? The following example includes all the necessary information but doesn't undercut the project with a proposed solution. Better objective statement 3. Reduce the defects per form from 2.3 DPU to less than 0.1 DPU by September 15, 2012. This change will increase revenue collection by $3.2 million per month, resulting in an additional $25,000 profit per month at an 8% profit margin. This project supports the corporate goal to increase revenue by 15% per year. Objective statements, like the better examples here, are part of the reason Six Sigma projects are effective and can generate breakthrough levels of improvement. Getting a project approved and assigned. Your first step in getting your project started is to identify who has to approve the project. Although this task seems like an easy step that requires little effort, don't take it lightly. It's vitally important. You've probably been involved in task force teams in the past where things were pushed through without enough thought given to who should be involved, provide support, or provide resources. Are any of these efforts really successful? Six Sigma treats this process differently than the aforementioned ill-planned task force team. Because you know so much about the problem, where it's occurring, how long it has existed, its impact, and the benefits of eliminating it, you're the best person to know who should approve your effort and, more importantly, why. You're always better off getting buy-in at the front of the effort than waiting until the last minute. Any effort you expend on the project before approval may be for naught if the powers that be want changes to your proposal or deny it outright. The key individual to identify, the person who will get your project off the ground, is the process owner. The person who has the primary responsibility for the result of the process associated with the problem you're solving. If additional approvals are required, those entities will become obvious when you know the process owners. If you're assigning this project to another Six Sigma practitioner, don't forget to ask him if he accepts the assignment to lead the project. Refer to the macro process map in Chapter 7 to help you identify the process owners and others you may need to approve your project. You must now decide what skill levels in the form of Six Sigma belts are required to solve this problem. Figure 6-3 assists you in making this decision. From experience, we can tell you that for any organization, a large number of smaller fruit on the ground and low-hanging fruit problems exist, followed by fewer process optimization problems, and then finally a few world hunger issues that aren't really process problems, but more likely management problems. Here's a little graph of like what types of problems you should be tackling when and with how resources. Finally, you have to identify which project team will be associated with the improvement, unless you believe you can accomplish the improvement goal by yourself. Be wary of going it alone. Very few people have all the skills necessary to take on process improvement projects. Usually 3 to 6 team members, all of whom have expertise from the areas associated with the project, are sufficient. If you've enlisted the process owners into your project, identifying these individuals will be easy.